Is it more important to be right than the first with the news?
I think even at an organisation like the ABC, you know, where people often turn to when there is breaking news, I do believe it's better to be right than to be first. And in a lot of situations, you know, there's still time pressures, and when you're covering, I think as journalists, it's really difficult because you're jumping from topic to topic, and you're covering stories related to cultures that sometimes you're not really sure about. And you know, for example, I'm not an expert in the Middle East, and I'm so grateful that there are people in my newsroom who I could turn to when a Middle East story does break. I can turn to them and say, hey, this just happened, can you please give me some context? Can I write something up? Can you have a look at it before we publish it? And I think that's really valuable. I'm lucky enough to work in, I think, what is ABC's most diverse newsroom. More than 50% of our staff are from a diverse background, and you know, no matter whether we're covering a story related to Indonesia or China, it's always good that there is someone with, you know, lived experience who we could turn to you know, verify some things, ask them to check the local media in those countries to verify those facts. But I understand that not every newsroom is as lucky as us.
On that topic, in 1980 when we launched the SBS World News, one of the most wonderful things I had access to was 100 subtitlers, right, who were specialists in their language. They would be doing something that had never been seen in Australia before. That was subtitling not only news, but all the programs that went to SBS, which is why we were multicultural and not ethnic, despite what others were talking about us. The last time I checked, English was the mother tongue in this country. So if we showed you a program, it was either in English or it was subtitled in English. And those 100 subtitlers had no other outlet other than what they were doing, and us in the newsroom. And I would visit the subtitling area all day, every day. And what did it do? It gave me access to each and every language. And the thing that allowed me to do what we did in those days was create a multicultural presentation. Was we broke down as many barriers as possible. We weren't afraid to use the proper expression or the proper pronunciation. Lech Wałęsa, the great Polish leader of Solidarność, when he was in Australia in the early 80s, was interviewed. They called him Lech Wałęsa. And I remember someone saying, how should we pronounce your name? And he said, the way they do on SBS. So we had an outlet, but we were prepared to use it. I think working in a newsroom where there's so much diversity, you can lean on them, and that expertise is wonderful. I'm wondering if, Steve, would you have had too many members of the communities in the Channel 7 newsroom in those days?
Short answer is no.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
No, and just by way of that, one of the things that I was running today tonight as well, but when I started running news, I used to say to a lot of my reporters, go across the Westgate Bridge. You'll actually find a different community, a different vibe, and a different audience that we're trying to connect with.
Mm.
And too many people in Melbourne, I think, if we're just talking purely Melbourne, connect to our sphere of influence we think is just